Call a crew to the fire tonight. Raise them up. Bring the fight. Boats hit the floor and the night it ignites. Steel in our veins, yeah, we live for the fight. Dust on our throats and a spark in our chest. We don't back down, we don't second guess. Katie's got the fire, lighting up the flame. Lacey swings hard, yeah, we're carving our name. From the gutter to the stage, from the bar to the sky. We're the voice you hear when the weak don't try. Hear that drum, feel it pounding your bones. No kids here, we take our own thrones. Hey, raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe.
Pins in the air and the chaos grows. Stories get loud where the wild wind blows. With scars and grit, yeah, we paid our dues. Now we're kicking indoors with nothing to lose.
Voices collide like a runaway train. Laugh through the struggle, dance through the pain. If you're standing with us, then you already know. We don't follow lines, we just steal the show. Feel that fire ripping straight through your chest. This ain't a game, it's a war cry test. Hey, raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe. Call 'em in, call 'em home. Through the fire, through the storm. We don't break, we reload. We don't kneel, we explode. Raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe. Day Crüe. ToosDay Crüe. Day Crüe. ToosDay Crüe.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the ToosDay Crüe. Tonight we'll start off with a solemn remembrance of the 3 soldiers we lost this weekend. PFC Isabella Gonzalez of Texas, 19 years old, of the 57th Air Defense Artillery Regiment. First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan of Ewa Beach, Hawaii, also of the 55th Air Defense Artillery Regiment out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton, 30 years old, of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Let's keep them in your thoughts and prayers, their families in your thoughts and prayers, their friends, their peers after this sudden change of life. May their actions, may their sacrifice not be in vain. Keep their memories alive, say their names, help their families if you can. Let's take a quick moment for them. Oh, Misfit Nation, are you ready to light this night up? Tonight, the spotlight is locked in, the microphone is hot, and one man is stepping forward to carry the crew at full throttle. No coasting, no excuses, absolutely no shortage of energy, because when your number gets called, you don't hesitate. You step up, you take control, and you show everybody what you're made of. Tonight, Cagney is flying solo, but he is not riding alone. He's got the entire Misfit Nation behind him. He's got that crew faithful filling the chat, and he's got enough fire, grit, and personality to shake this whole stream. So wherever you're watching from, turn up that volume, hit that share button, and bring some serious energy to the chat. Tonight we laugh louder, we dig deeper, we tell stories that matter, and we prove that when the Misfit steps into the arena, they don't just fill the chair. They own the fight! Misfit Nation, get on your feet and make some noise for the man at the controls, the captain of tonight's ride. It's Cagney hosting the ToosDay Crüe.
Woo! Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday. We are back. Or I'm back. Yeah, I've been here a couple weeks. And no, I'm not alone. I'm in a room right now with a bunch of gnomes and Lego figures staring at me. So, I have an audience in the room with me. It's going to be a good show. Definitely. Tonight, we're honored and to welcome someone whose story goes far beyond military service. Brandon Burton spent 20 years serving our country in the Army, including 2 deployments to Afghanistan, 7 years as an instructor, and time leading soldiers as a company commander. But tonight isn't just about Brandon's military career. It's about the lessons that stayed with him long after the uniform came off. His new memoir, Authority Without Control, explores leadership, character, humility, and the lessons he carries through every chapter of life, not just the battlefield. Brandon is also a husband, a father of 3, and someone who's passionate about helping others become better leaders at home, at work, and in life. So whether you're a veteran, a leader, a parent, or simply someone who loves hearing incredible life stories, you're in for a great conversation. Be sure to jump into the live chat and tell us where you're watching from. Send us your questions for Brandon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Brandon Burton to the ToosDay Crüe. Good evening, Brandon.
Good evening, Cagney. Great to be on here. Thank you so much. I'm honored and humbled to be here.
Well, thank you. I just gave a little, nickel tour about your life and what you've done. If you'd like to jump in and tell everybody about yourself, go back as far as you want, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, you hit the high points. So I'm a small town Nebraska kid, born and raised in western Nebraska, a little town of Bartley, about 350 people. I joined the Army on 9/11. I tried to join on 9/11. Recruiter told me I was too young, so I called back a few months later when I turned 17, and that decision set up the next 20 years of my life, even to this day. So I retired in 22, and I still work for the Army as a federal civilian. So that shaped everything, from small town Nebraska to the rest of my adult life and career has been shaped by 9/11 and then service in the U.S. Army and the Nebraska National Guard.
Fantastic. And what are you doing now besides, while you're training? What are you doing with the military?
I completely retired from the Army as a combat engineer and went right back to work for the Nebraska National Guard, Joint Forces Headquarters, just doing plans and operations, just admin stuff. It is the simplest job I've ever had in my life. It's amazing. It is a very semi-retired job, but I love doing it. I love the people I work with. So no reason to stop.
I thought maybe you went back to train and teach what you learned to the newer soldiers.
No, I do that. I do that on the civilian side. I teach beginner pistol. I have a range here on my acreage, and so I still love teaching shooting. So I still love instructing. I love teaching, but now I just do it on my own terms.
That's cool. Now, your book is titled Authority While Control. That's a phrase that immediately makes people stop and think, what does it mean and why did you choose it?
Thanks.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
good question. The title is it's dual meanings, and both sides of that phrase are shown in the book. So authority without control in a healthy way, meaning don't be a micromanager. When you find yourself in a position of authority, how to lead well without being controlling in the negative sense of the word. So as a leader, as a parent, military, NCO, civilian, doesn't matter. Try to hold your authority without control. Now, the opposite side of that is also a big part of the book is when you find yourself in a position of authority and ego and trauma and just addiction, you get out of control. You are now in authority without control. You've lost control of yourself, which it happens. It happened to me. I spent a lot of years wrestling with that, and it's a big topic of the book as well. So authority without control, both as something to live by as a leader and also something to be cautious of as a leader.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said before, I work retail, and with what's going on in my store itself, I had to sit down the manager under me yesterday and say, hey, look, you don't need to like me, but right now it's me and you against the world. We got to fix what's going on in the store. We need to work together. We got to get the employees together, and we need to just run the business and make it like it's ours right now until whatever happens, happens. And she's young, and she was a little, but she understood what I was saying. She's like, I'm here to learn. I'm here to do this. I'm with you, and this is what we're going to do. It's like, we can't just bang heads all day like we have been doing, and now with the problems in the store, it was simple. Either we're working together or, we got to separate and we got to do some different things, and that's how we just have to approach life right now. We had to be a team and we had to work together. We have to get everybody on the same page and get the business running.
Yeah. The leadership relationships that you have with other leaders. That's another theme that is throughout the book is the peers, the first sergeant commander relationship, the staff relationships, the friendships that come from deployments and from hardships of working with people. And again, this is it's amplified in the military, but like you said, it's applicable in any walk of life. Working well with your peers, other leaders, those above you, those below you, that culture matters.
I have a question coming in right away here. In the breach wants to know, Brandon, I see the castle behind you. Who all were you with?
Yeah, Essayons, engineer officer from the start. That's actually the only official branch I held as an officer. I got to hold on to engineer my entire career. In Nebraska, we have a engineer company that I was commander of, the 623rd. We're a vertical engineer company. And then we have a engineer battalion, but there's nothing engineer about the battalion other than the name. They own a hodgepodge of different units. So yeah, the only pure engineer unit in the state of Nebraska, the 623rd Vertical Engineer Company. Absolutely loved it. Love being an engineer. Great career.
I find that amazing because I'm looking at you and I see lights behind you. I see no castle. I don't know what that looked like.
Right
How
there,
did they
yeah.
spot that? I have glasses on and I don't see that. I can just blow it up and look at it. My goodness.
On both of my deployments also, I was lucky enough to do engineer-related things. Neither of my deployments were really mission-specific as far as, there was no MOSs. There was no manual for what we were doing. So we kind of had to make it up. However, my role as a team engineer actually was doctrinal engineering work. Irrigation, route clearances, some site security, some good pure engineer operations. So it was a lot of fun. I got to experience a lot of different facets of engineering. Well drilling. Lucky enough that my dad's side of the family, my dad was a well driller, and so I grew up around irrigation wells. And sure enough, when we landed in northern Afghanistan in 2008, that was the first thing they were asking for. So my dad actually packed up a book from the early 1900s about mountainous geology well drilling and shipped it over because that was the only book out there. The way they were drilling in Wyoming in the early 1900s is how they were drilling in the mountains of Afghanistan. So reach back to my dad, save the day.
That's pretty damn cool. In the book that old too, because
Yeah.
that doesn't change. The machinery does, but how you do it really doesn't change it. It doesn't change at all. All right, so you spent 20 years in the Army, including 2 deployments, 7 years teaching others, and serving as a company commander. What role shaped you most as a leader?
A role that shaped me most as a leader. That's a really hard question. I changed so much through that 20 years. Roles change you differently as you age, as you mature, even as your job changes. So I started out as an NCO. So, the first big change was, going through PLDC, becoming a squad leader, being an NCO, really understanding what that was and how important it was and taking pride in that. So that was enormously impactful. But then just a few short years later, it was, now you're going to officer candidate school. Forget all of that. Now you're an officer. Now you're a planner. You're not a doer anymore. So you're really shifting from the NCO mindset to the officer mindset. So again, now we have enormously impactful role number 2. Deployments are, of course, life-changing. Just the things you learn about yourself and the world and the experiences that you go through. So there's impactful experience number 3. So then I went into being a pre-mob instructor, and the weight of that, especially at the time, 2010, and our team did pre-mob instruction. So any unit getting ready to deploy spent up to a year with our team on drill weekends and an annual training, prepping to go to war. And so that training we took it so seriously. This was it. This was the last training you were going to get, and it really mattered. So that developed me enormously as a leader. And then another deployment, company command. So it's hard to say what was the most impactful, because as you go through life, the impact that you have ends up being the one you need. And you can't really compare them. If I wanted to say a favorite, company command, absolutely. I was blessed to have an incredible first sergeant, an XO, my PLs, my platoon sergeants. I just had an absolute dream team of people in there, and they were bought in. They were bought into the culture that I thought that the unit needed and that I was pushing, and they were true believers. They said, yup, let's go. And to watch a culture of a unit transform and to see the motivation trickle down through the ranks and watch guys be excited, watch young guys take pride in what they do. Oh, that's an incredible feeling. As any military leader will tell you, when you look down at your formation and see that they've bought in and they're thriving, that's an incredible feeling. So yeah, that was my favorite for selfish reasons, of course, because it was it felt good. I don't know if that was the most impactful, but that had to be my favorite.
No, you're talking how excited they were and this and that. That has a lot to do just with you, with the way you present and the way you do things. You know, a lot of people, again, was what I do. A lot of people come to work just to do their 8 hours, get paid to go home. They don't care. You make it so they were excited about something, and that's a big tool and a big thing to be able to do with people, you know. And your book, writing it. Let me ask you this question: most military books focus on combat stories, lessons that in service. Why was your story? Why was it this your story that you wanted to tell? The book you wrote. Why wasn't
Yeah.
it about the bombs going off across the street and this happening? Why is this the focal point of your book?
This
And
book
what made you decide to write?
Yeah, what made this book different is exactly the motivation for why I started writing. I started writing because last summer I found out I was going to be a grandpa for the first time. My oldest, my son, was expecting, and that was an amazing feeling, just incredible to know you're going to become a grandpa. And when I was thinking about that, I had some pretty amazing grandparents, did some really cool stuff, and not a lot of it was written down. Just oral history was all I was left with from these amazing people that I looked up to my whole life. And I can tell you a little bit about them, but I don't know a lot about what they did. So I thought, well, shit, if that's the problem, then I need to be the solution, I guess. I better start writing some things down. And so my granddaughter, little Eleanor, was the motivation to start writing. And so as I was writing to her. She was the audience in my head, and not just her, but also, future grandkids, great grandkids, however long copies of this book are around for next generations to read. That's who I'm writing to. That curious great grandchild who wants to know, what happened back in Afghanistan. And so with them as my audience, I'm not going to write about listen to how badass I am, listen to how tough grandpa was. That's not the motivation. It was, hey, here's something neat that I did that you're going to enjoy hearing about, or here is something that really teaches you about life. I'm not just here to toot my own horn. I don't want to tell you how cool grandpa was. I want to give you information that you need, that I learned, including my mistakes. Hey, I really screwed this up. Listen, read about how I screwed up, so you find your own ways to screw up. Don't make my same mistakes again. And so that is why the tone of the book isn't a, war story. Look how cool I am. It's not that kind of book at all. There are a couple stories in there that use some stress and some bad days, but it uses those settings to teach a story, not to entertain. I think that's something Hollywood misses. So many of our war movies, Hollywood's lazy. It's easy to make a entertaining movie about gunfights because that's just entertaining. That's exciting. Try making a movie about loss and addiction and divorce. Like, oof, nobody wants to watch that movie. That's a hard movie to make. That's not entertaining.
Nobody wants to know the backstory.
Nobody wants to see that
tours stuff. And you could have lost the marriage while you were away. It could have been this. Nobody wants to hear about that. They want to hear about how many bodies you shot and how many of this and that. And that's not the whole story. You were out there teaching. You were out there, had people learning from you and learning different skills and things that kept them alive. And
yeah.
That,
so that's
like you said, that's not a Marvel movie.
Oh, the slow, methodical process of clearing a route. Yes, that is a chapter in the book called Clear the Culvert. And it's about how pissed off people get when you stop and clear a culvert the right way. And that becomes the life lesson is, hey, stop and take your time. No matter what it is, if you're in leadership, if you're calling the shots, slow down and do it the right way. People are going to get pissed at you. Corporate will be yelling at you. Your people will be yelling at you, but you got to do it the right way. Especially route clearance or, clearing an obstacle. If you don't do it the right way, someone's going to die. So take the time and do it the right way. Even when people are screaming and crying about why is this taking so long, focus on your job and take your time and do it the right way. So that's a perfect example of, a war story from the book turns into, here's the takeaway from it. Slow down and do the right decision, even when it's unpopular.
That's a good word of advice right there. All right. How has being a husband and father changed your understanding of leadership compared to what you learned in the military?
Oh my gosh. How similar they are. When I was younger, you get this idea that being a military leader comes from some type of bravado, some tough guy image, which was, that was a bullshit Cold War leadership style that was actually horrible and it didn't work. And there's still a lot of toxic leaders out there in the Army who believe that being an asshole is leadership style. It's not. Caring for your people is the best and only leadership style. Exactly the way you would care for a family. You worry about their well-being, the simplest things, to all the NCOs listening, are they fed? Are they healthy? Are they going to get to bed on time? They got water. Those basic life necessities that you're providing for them because you care about them. That's exactly the same thing with children. That's the same care and respect that you give to a spouse. Leadership and caring for people that are entrusted to you is the same. People who try to put on their tough guy hat and go be a military leader or a corporate leader with, some sort of alter ego, that doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work at home and it won't work in the business and vice versa. I guarantee if you lead like that at home, you're going to have problems. So that is the biggest thing that I learned. And unfortunately, it took me a while to learn it. I'm on marriage number 3 because it took me a while to learn that. But you love your troops the same way you love your family.
Now hearing my brother, the producer, talk with the way he ran things and did things, how many times did you have to change your mindset of how you led when you first went in until right before you left? How many times did your mindset have to change? I'm doing it this way. I'm going hammer down, and now I'm doing it this way, and it's a little different. Now I'm doing it this way, and this is where it's working. Or did you have the same mindset the whole damn time you were there?
No, absolutely not. At some level, I was changing it all day. I'm constantly listening to a first sergeant or platoon sergeants, an XO, warrant officers. I'm getting information from higher up. I had my idea, I had my plan, and that is just a given point from which to deviate. If you believe that your plan is the best plan ever and you are the most brilliant military leader there has ever been, you're going to get somebody killed. You better be listening to those people around you. Having a good first sergeant, trusting your NCOs, knowing who to trust, knowing whose opinion. Your mindset better be changing all the time. But culture-wise, that's something I grew into fairly early. The underarching principle of what it meant to serve. That came from back in my hometown when I was first decided to join. When World War II and Korea era guys, their advice was all the same to me. They said, don't volunteer for nothing. Blend in, don't stand out, don't raise your hand. That was all of their advice. And God bless these guys. They went through hell, but a lot of them were drafted. That was not their first choice.
Right.
And so that was their advice. One dear friend, his dad, Jim Helm, was a career Special Forces medic. Started in Vietnam, went on to become an SF instructor, retired from Fort Bragg. His advice was the exact opposite. He came to me and said, be the first, speak up, speak your mind, stand out, volunteer for everything, want the ball. Was the term he used. You got to want the ball. And that is the principle that I tried to carry with me, is what Jim Helm told me clear back in high school was, when you're in charge.
That is very solid advice right there. And I have another question for you from the audience. At very close vein wants to know, what's one leadership lesson everyone can apply at home, even if they never served in the military? Thank you for that question.
Oh, just one? Just one? Hold on.
That's a couple, but
yeah. That's a great plug for the book. That is the whole book, is leadership lessons you can apply at home, is essentially, gosh.
You just open the book and read captions.
There is a chapter in the book. Chapter 20 is called Periodic Health Assessment. I love telling this story. The periodic health assessment, for those who don't know, every year, every military unit, you pack up the whole, for me, it was a company, load everybody onto buses, and you go to the medical center. For us, that was in Lincoln. And you spend all day taking 150-ish soldiers through station after station of, everything from labs, pharmacy, vision, dental, behavioral health, like you name it. 20 different stations. It takes the whole weekend. It's long. It's kind of arduous. It's pretty boring, but it's important. We're tracking all these metrics on these soldiers to make sure nobody slips through the cracks, that we're taking care of them, and providing them with all the medical care that we possibly can. And so we're all standing around on this drill floor, 150-ish soldiers just milling around, waiting to get this day started. And First Sergeant pulls me aside and he says, "Hey, sir, the troopies, they got to hear from you. Tell them this shit matters." Yep, Roger, First Sergeant. Always listen to your First Sergeant, especially little things like that. He knows what he's talking about. So I grabbed the folding chair and I jumped up on this folding chair and "Hey, weirdos, listen up." That was our term of endearment was weirdos. Weirdos, listen up. And I said something along the lines of, this is going to be a long day. There's going to be a lot of standing in line. I know it's not fun, but it's important. And I explained to him why it was important. I don't remember that part, but I remember at the end of it, I said, this matters because we love you. And everyone kind of laughs. And then I paused for a second and then I said it again. I said, I love you. And it was fewer laughs that time. And so I said it again. I love you. And no one laughed that third time. And there was a lot of, you could tell that there were soldiers who'd never been told that before, especially from a male authority figure, to tell them to their face that they love them and to show it, hey, we're here to make sure you're healthy. If there was one lesson that anyone could take away from this book to use in any part of life, is you love your people. You take care of your people. So if I had to pick one, that'd be the one.
That one choked you up a little bit, I say.
Yeah. The SRP, yeah, the Soldier Readiness Program.
Okay, next question. Nanayo wants to know, was there a specific moment that inspired you to write Authority Without Control? Thank you for that question.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, as I said earlier, the motivation was I'd be expecting to be a grandpa. It's this little biscuit right here, little Eleanor. Finding out that I was going to be a grandpa, but like I said, it was thinking back, putting myself in that that grandparent category, imagining, man, it's scary that there's going to be, some years down the road, I'm a grandpa. People won't remember everything. The clock is ticking. Grandparents die. That's so I need to. There's a lot of lessons that I hope Eleanor gets. There was excitement, but also a little bit of responsibility or even fear, maybe. Like, shit, you've got some important things that people need to know. You better write this down. You're not going to be here forever. So that was definitely the moment, was knowing that I needed to leave some things behind for Eleanor and other future generations.
We were trying that with my father. My father is 86 years old, and we got him a tablet, which he didn't like, and we were trying to get him to record his stories. Whatever came to mind. I'll sit with him every Friday, and every Friday I'll hear some different story about what happened back in the day. And, the Wayne's World Wayback Machine will come in and he'll just start telling me stories. And we were trying to get him to record that, so we had his stories to let our children and their kids know about their grandfather and their great grandfather. It's hard, and it's something that really needs to be done, because their story needs to be told and somebody needs to know it. I learned different things all the time when I was sitting there with him. There's things he tells me that I never knew he did. I'm 57. I should know a lot about my father, and I learn things every week, as I'm sitting there with him.
Yeah.
So writing a book is one great way of showing that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but you can't fault those generations for not thinking about that thing. It was a different time. They had bigger things to worry about. Legacy, having the time to write. That's really a luxury that human beings have just got in the last 75 years. Is AC, running water. We are more comfortable than any humans have ever been in history. And so we have the luxury of worrying about your story to your great grandkids. That's not high on the survival list. So, those generations they just didn't think about it.
It's something you really don't think about. Like, okay, I'm gone, that's it. And sometimes they want to know the story. Sometimes, you got your DNA testing. You go back, see your whole damn tree and see who was there and beyond. You know nothing about them.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a recording, if there's a book with a story to tell, makes life so much freaking easier. It's been fantastic for them. They can say, "Oh, it's not just a name on a piece of paper. Here's the story behind it."
Mm-hmm.
I love that. All right, if someone finishes reading Authority Without Control, what's the one lesson you hope stays with them? Did I ask you that? No, I don't think I did.
The one I hope stays with them, that kind of goes back to the loving your people. But depending on, let's say you've got that one, all right? Let's say you do know how to love your people. So next one after that would be loving yourself. That's later in the book when deployments have added up and I hadn't taken care of myself. I hadn't done the hard work of therapy and actually facing the stresses that have piled up. And so I go into later in the book how I really did self-destruct. I was good at taking care of my people and those around me, and I completely neglected myself on purpose. It was absolutely, self-harm in a way. I neglected myself, and the worst part about that is, I can sit there saying I was loving the people around me, but when you destroy yourself, that hurts the people around you. You're now letting down that spouse, those kids, those friends. So you're not fooling anyone if you say, well, I love the people around me, but I'm hard on myself. Well, then you're not loving the people around you then.
Well, no, you're loving the people around you. You're just mentally blocking everything like every other damn military person saying, okay, don't worry about it. We're good. Until you get smacked in the head and realize, no, I'm not okay.
You will pay the piper someday for that. Absolutely. And, you hope that you have people in your life, you have some family or friends that see it coming and can step in and stop you. Yeah. So number one, if you're good at taking care of other people, then number two is take care of yourself.
Amen to that. Because I've been doing this almost, I think it's 2 years now, talking to people, military, ex-military, and how many times that same story. I'm okay. You know what? I'm not okay. You need to reach out. You need to get that help. All right, I have another question for you. Ed Janke wants to know, how difficult was it to transition from military life to civilian life? Thank you for that question.
I love that question because I had kind of a unique career. So I did 20 years total that were all Nebraska Army National Guard. But within that 20 years, almost 10 of it was active duty. Now, it was active duty deployments, gone for a year. Some schools are gone for 8 months. Some of that active duty was here in the state. So when you're talking about transitioning for a guardsman, even for a kind of a wild guard career like mine, the transition is a lot easier than active duty, where let's say I left Nebraska and I ended up in Fort Benning or, hopped around bases, and I was 24 hours a day in the uniform, on post, in the culture, in the unit, right? Completely immersed every day. That's all I knew. That transition seems to me like it would be more similar to coming home from a deployment, where you're trying to 100% shift your beliefs, your lens, your actions, your words. Everything changes. Whereas for National Guard, even for a busy career like mine, we were home. At night, on the weekends, whatever, we were still home. I was around my family, took the kids to school. So it's a much different transition. Easier, maybe, for the National Guard, bouncing back and forth, because it's not so abrupt. Now, the other side of that, like I said, a deployment transitioning, I think, is a lot more like what someone who joins active duty, and let's say they do a 6-year enlistment and they leave home 6 years, just active duty, and now that ends and they're right back in the civilian world. Now that transition, where, like I said, everything changes. Coming home from a deployment was hard, really hard. I remember mine was just a mid-tour leave. I was home for 2 weeks, and within 48 hours probably, it was Afghanistan to a concert in Lincoln, Nebraska. And it was terrible. Looking back now, this is the worst idea ever. Went to this concert. The girl I was with got her foot stepped on at this crowded concert, which it's a concert that happens, right? That's not crazy. The dude said something, and that was it. Next thing I know, I had that guy pinned on the ground, and I was just beating the shit out of him. And that ruined the concert. We got drug out of there, and my girlfriend was mad, and I felt like a dick. But looking back, I'm like, I should have never gone to that concert. It's stupid. I'm on patrols 2 days ago, and now you put me in a crowded, crazy place full of college-age assholes. Like, that was a terrible idea. And so that is the story I use as why it's so important to be careful about transitioning. You have to be intentional. You have to know it's going to suck, and you have to have some tools and support in place to be ready for it. It's not just you, it's the family you're going home to. You come home from deployment and your wife and kids aren't ready for what this is going to be like. Oh shit, now they're angry. Now they're resentful because they don't understand what you're going through. So yeah, detransitioning like that is a methodical, careful process. There's been a lot of bad stuff happening from trying to make that transition and not doing it well.
I hope that answer helped them. And I got another one for you. At Melanoma would like to know, what advice would you give that you had to go through? What advice would you give to young leaders just beginning their careers? Thank you for that question.
Oh, young leader just beginning your career. I'm going to echo what Sergeant First Class Jim Helms said to me is stand out, volunteer, raise your hand, be the first, push yourself. If there's an option to volunteer for something, I mean, we'll say, hey, somebody says, hey, we got 4 slots for Pathfinder school. You be the first person on that list. Just go for it. Even if you don't think you can, doesn't matter. Go for it. You will regret the things you didn't do in 20 years. You will never regret the things that you tried, the things that you accomplished, the things that you went for. So want the ball.
I like that answer. And if I could add, the one thing I learned becoming a leader and working with people, and it's not just point and say do, it's work with them and they work better with you. You have to kind of bond that way. You can't just say, here's a list, go at it, and they don't even know if you know what you're doing, let alone who wrote the list for you. You have to be able to work with them. I work retail, and I get teased about this whole time, but I walked into a store once, none of the employees talked, nobody trusted anybody, and I got down and I started scrubbing the floors, and I was doing this. They're like, what the hell are you doing? You're the store manager. I'm like, yeah, and work needs to be done, and we need to work together and get this place working right. And little by little, they started working. Little by little, we all started talking, and we became a crew, not just, okay, he sits in the office and he barks orders all day. They knew I was on the floor. They knew I was with them. And that's how I got them to work better and work harder for me. And we became a team that way. It's not just lead by saying that. You go out there and you work with them.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
my mindset about being a leader. It's not just bark orders and walk away. You need to get out there and you got to be with them.
Absolutely. Being, like you said, being able to go out there and get dirty with your people. Being in a vertical construction company, that's something that First Sergeant and I, every day, we showed up on every job site and we got dirty. Even if it was just, hey, we're only here for 30 minutes. We're going to help unload this truck. Other times it was you intentionally find that really shitty thing and you say, give me that. Let me do that. I remember our plumbers were tunneling in a line into this existing building. we're tunneling in a line to connect them. And there's no fancy way of taking off your blouse, grabbing a shovel, crawling into a hole, and digging a hole across to another hole. There's no fun trick to do that. You just do it. And I seen one of the guys doing that, and I'm like, shit, that's something I need to be doing that. And so yeah, I spent the time because the men, the soldiers, seeing the company commander willing to do that real shitty thing that none of them want to do. That's servant leadership, right? Do the thing that they don't want to do. Show them that you're in it with them. Goes a long ways. Yeah, and don't fake it. They fucking know if you fake it. If I'd have just got down there and chipped away and said, "Keep it up, boys," don't. That's what politicians do. No, you got to get down there and get dirty and soaked. You
can't turn around and say, "Give me a rag. I got my hand dirty. I'll wipe your rag. Your hand. You gotta get in there."
Look, I took my tie off. I'm one of you. Yeah, that's bullshit. You can't do that. No.
Yeah, it gets to the point even at work now on cars. I had an employee the other day. Oh, I got a burn, and I showed him a scar on my arm. I'm like, "Do you see this?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You know what that is?" No. Like, I went in and my arm got stuck to an alternator, and it just pulled the skin, so now it looks like a cat claw on my arm. Like, that's been there for 8 years. I'm like, right now, well, all I hear is a sizzle. I don't even know it's burning anymore. Like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, like that's how you live and learn. I'm like, you just got to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Yep. Yeah, and competence goes a long ways too. Is you don't have to be the best, but you better be damn good. A young military leader, you don't have to know everything that your E7s know. But if you're a lieutenant, you better be damn good at ruck marches. You better be fast. You better be fit. You better be good at land nav. Those skills, those basic soldiering skills, like I said, you don't have to be the best, but you better be damn good because competency matters. You better know what you're doing. That's another thing, young people, leaders, young leaders or students or, in the civilian world, your subordinates will sniff that out. If you don't know your shit, you're going to get exposed pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, we got another question. And Jaja, I don't know if it's Lois or Lewis, I apologize, wants to know what's next for Brandon Burton. Are there more books or speaking opportunities on the horizon? Thank you for that question.
Yeah, I've actually already started writing the second edition. So what's wild is when this first started going around to veteran friends who served with me, they said, "Hey, I love it, but why didn't you write about this?" And after about 12 of them came up with different things that I just completely forgot to write about. I was luckily I had enough interesting things happen in 20 years that there's shit that I just forgot to put in there. And I was like, damn it, you're right. I got to write about that. And so I have about 12 chapters that I've already started writing. So the second edition will be about twice as long as this one. It'll have the same stuff in it and more. So look for that this Christmas. So basically, this will be like the abridged version now. No, speaking, I would love to. If I were to put together a presentation, a general, a young leader type talk, I would love to. I'd be honored. I'm doing this to try to pass things on. It's an obligation to pay forward what I feel has been a blessing of experiences and lessons. And it's just the right thing to do to try to pay it forward. So yeah, I'll keep going for sure.
I got a JJ Demon here so he can verify.
Thanks a lot, man. That's that means the world to me. That means the world to me.
So push your book. Tell us where we can find your book, and
Yeah. So
where
Authority
it
Without
is, what it
Control.
is.
It's on sale on Amazon, digital, hardback, paperback, and audio is coming within the next couple weeks, probably. The audio will be launched, so it'll be on Audible as well. If you're around the Lincoln or Omaha area, come to the Davy Tavern, and you can probably get yourself a signed one.
Well, that's cool. And if anybody in the audience wanted to reach out to you, maybe one of the other shows that we're affiliated with, to get you to come on their show, how can they reach you? Social media,
There is an
websites?
Instagram page.
Okay.
There's an Instagram page for the book. Let me find the handle real quick. It is just Authority Without Control. The actual handle is there's a underscore between all the words. Authority Without Control _ book, I guess is will get you there.
Okay.
So that is the Instagram page with the link to it, and you can also reach out to me from there. Get you a signed copy, or ask any questions you want. Happy to chat. Josh Kohut. Josh and I were in Afghanistan together. Amazing guy. Great leader.
We got them out there. I don't know if you told your friends you were going to be on, or they just found you here.
I
That's
posted the
pretty
link,
cool.
and I guess word got around pretty quick.
I like that.
It's heartwarming. I love it. It's Nebraska National Guard's an amazing organization.
Well, normally we end the show with a question saying normally 3 things that this nation can do to be better people tomorrow. Lately, we've been doing pop culture questions, and tonight it's pop culture garage round. Okay, so coffee or energy drinks?
Energy drink.
Favorite military movie?
Oh my gosh, that's a really hard one. Fury.
Favorite leadership book besides your own?
Leadership book. Well, let me look. Oh, it's not down here. General McChrystal. Can't remember what Team of Teams, but General McChrystal.
All right. Marvel or DC?
What's that?
Marvel or DC?
I don't know.
Batman or Spider-Man? Come on.
I'm not enough of a comic book guy to.
Wow. All
Whoever
right.
Batman is, I love Batman because
That's DC.
he doesn't have any
Okay.
superpowers. He's just well trained.
Excuse me. Morning person or night owl?
Oh, definitely. Well, neither anymore, but night. More night. Night meaning like 10 o'clock.
Favorite place you ever traveled?
Favorite place I've ever traveled?
Yeah.
Late summer in the field at the base of Mount Hood up outside of Seattle. It was incredible. We did like 2 weeks in the field out there. It was just beautiful up there.
And seeing you had to get the magnifying glass out to look to see your Instagram site. One app you couldn't live without.
App I couldn't live without. Well, let's see. What's the first one that comes up? I guess it's text. I open up and there's a text message from my wife. So does that count? I guess.
It's an app. Yes. Yep. Okay. If Hollywood made a movie about your life, who would play you?
Oh, man. Who would play me? Jim Carrey or Eric Bana. If I was choosing, that's who I would choose. I don't know. My friends would probably pick somebody different. Denzel.
Oh man. All right. What's one song that always gets turned up in the car?
Gary by Stephen Wilson Jr. Love that song.
Okay. What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about Brandon Burton?
Surprised to learn? I love poetry. Specifically Billy Collins. If no one's into poetry, Google Billy Collins later. You'll love it. Amazing poetry.
Well, that's the end of that round, Brandon.
All right.
This hour's gone by pretty quick. I hope you enjoyed yourself tonight.
Oh, I can't believe that was an hour. This is wonderful. Yeah.
It was a great conversation, and I learned a lot. And hopefully, the people listening learned. I want to thank you for coming on tonight, and I want to thank the Misfit Nation for hanging out with us.
Oh, thank you, Cagney. I really appreciate it. I'm honored, and hope people can take some lessons away from the book.
And now you can say you're on a live podcast. It's
Yes.
not recorded. It's not edited. It's just me and you against the world right now, and that's it.
I appreciate it. This is a blast.
Fantastic. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank
You have
you.
a great night, Mr. Nation. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Be safe out there. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.